look.
With the Supreme Court ruling on same-sex marriage eliciting mixed reactions in the country, President William Ruto has for the first time publicly aired his views on the matter.
Mimi ni mtu ambaye ninamcha Mungu. Yale mambo ambayo yamefanyika kule kotini, hata kama tunaheshimu kotini, lakini desturi, mila, Ukristo wetu, Uislamu wetu hauwezi kuturuhusu mke aoe mke mwenzake ama mwanaume aoe mwanaume mwenzake.
Speaking at the Kenyatta International Convention Center during the relaunch of the Women Enterprise Fund, President Ruto said that he respects the Apex Court's decision, but insisted that Kenya's values and religion do not allow same-sex relationships.
Katika taifa letu la Kenya, tuko na mila, tuko na desturi, tunaheshimu katiba yetu, tunaheshimu madini zetu zote. Hatuwezi kwenda barabara ati ya wanawake kuoa wanawake wenzao, ati na wanaume kuoa wanaume wenzao.
Kiongozi wa nchi hii ni mcha Mungu. He is a man of faith. He'll do what needs to be done. In any case, we have our traditions and customs, and what they are suggesting is repugnant to morality and justice and our way of life. Kwa hivyo hiyo maneno sisi hatuko hapo.
Controversy brewed over the ruling, with Kenyans top among them political leaders taking to social media to cite their dissatisfaction with the Supreme Court ruling.
Men cannot marry us. It is women who be marrying women and men marrying men. That one, as the women of Kenya,
That's where we are. And Kevin, I want to start with you, and in this context, by the way. You see, that is the court that has made that ruling. The Supreme Court that has made that ruling. You can't challenge the Supreme Court ruling in this country. That's the highest court in the land. Chapter 8 of the Kenyan Constitution says Kenya is a secular nation, Kevin. Everybody does know that. Whatever religion you are in, whatever form of association that you want to start in this country, you and I can start a church that worships cows tomorrow and we'll be fine. We'll never be arrested. Why are we challenging the Supreme Court's ruling, Kevin? As a youth, where do you stand?
As a youth,
yes.
I want to speak about the issue of LGBTQ.
Yes.
I think the government, to some point, we must agree and speak the reality. It's being hypocritical on some things. Why is it happening? You know, foreign policy, you know, those people of the West have been using socialization as a tool of foreign policy to push African countries to their practices. One, why is it that Joe Biden arrives in the country on Friday? On Saturday, the Supreme Court gives out the green light for the LGBTQ thing. On Sunday, she leaves, and on Monday, Kenya received 16 billion Kenya shillings from the USAID. That begs some questions that we need to answer from our leaders. Number two, we cannot challenge the ruling of the Supreme Court. But also there's an article in the Constitution that says marriage is between persons of opposite sex. So we have other avenues. Laws made by Parliament are the supreme laws in this land.
Yes.
So even if we accept the ruling of the Supreme Court, but I appreciate the trajectory that the Honorable Member for Nyali, Member of Parliament for Nyali, Moha, and Peter Kaluma for Homa Bay Town, I think he comes from over there, and he must have heard about this.
That,
He spoke about the criminalizing this, and they have already tabled a motion in the House. They want to pass a law that criminalizes LGBTQ. Because we exist, not because our parents were lesbians or gays. We exist because, you know, our parents were not lesbians or gays. So if you bring us what you do in the West and think we say a big no. Whether you can, you know, you can do whatever you want, you can, you know, bash Kenya the way you want as the West, but we say no. Because one, we are Africans. We have our morality. We cannot sell the soul of our nation for cheap donations. We cannot.
Yes.
So I want to talk about this. This is an issue, and I think going forward, when the Parliament will pass the law and the President, it will be a litmus test to the President on whether or not he will sign into law. That is where we will start a conversation about the genuinity of this matter.
That's it, pretty much. Amalo, What a point, Joe. By the way, your member of parliament as well,
Yes,
floated quite a controversial motion that indeed I'm going to present a bill that is going to completely criminalize LGBTQ in the country. But then that means that we have to go then and relook our constitution as well, change that particular clause in the constitution and then insert the criminality of that practice in the country. First, let's start from, are we challenging the Supreme Court in the land, the highest court in the land? And number two, as a youth leader, as a student leader as well, it's an issue that you would actually find on your table. Where do you stand in this?
actually, first of all, we were planning for a peaceful demonstration to Supreme Court.
Yes.
So that we challenge their ruling, because we are a godly country, and such kind of ruling, actually, it is not making sense.
When you, and I'm sorry to cut you short,
Yes.
because then, under the auspices of the Kenyan Constitution, Article 8 says Kenya is a secular nation. So when we sit here and then say we are a godly nation,
Yes.
are we also looking at Article 8 and saying, well, that Article 8 is wrong?
Okay, Simba, the problem with our constitution is one. This was a borrowed constitution from the US, actually. The larger part of our constitution, it was borrowed from the US. So when the constitution came, our constitutional experts, there are those issues which they never looked at. They just copy-paste them direct. And that's why they are now haunting us back, actually. And first of all, I would like to thank Honorable Peter Kaluma for coming up with such kind of a good motion when it's needed. So, as a youth of this nation, actually we are going to be affected, because I don't understand. There's something which I don't understand. The people who are in LGBTQ,
yes,
these people have money. I don't know where they get money, because by now you will find that most of the comrades will join this group, and that one I can say, because the LGBTQ, they have a lot of money, and they will lure the comrades, because currently we are facing economical hardship.
Yes, and Kevin, I want you to weigh in on this as well. You said the court did not rule that they can actually marry each other. No, the court recognizes that every other person in Kenya has a right to association, assembly. That's why saying, well, you want to register, you can go right ahead and register. It is within the Kenyan law. It's within the constitution.
Yeah,
so are we overreacting?
No,
Is that what it is? Are we overreacting?
We are not overreacting as a nation.
Yes.
It is there in the constitution.
Yeah.
And our judges followed what is there in the constitution.
It's right there within it's a right given within the Kenyan constitution.
Because I think it was last year when the Rastafarians went to court so that they can be recognized too. And they were given that an opportunity.
Pretty much.
So, and again, I want to look it in this matter.
Yes.
You find that someone like a lady, she has that, the male hormones. And at a time you might find that a lady, we normally call them tomboys. Yeah.
Transgender.
Yes. So they are existing in our society. We can't chase them or we can't kill them.
Yes.
It is our duty, and it's the parents' duty and the church leaders to have a talk and a conversation with them so that they can be directed, they can be taken to a right direction. Because currently, even back in my county, you'll find a boy putting on, the blouse, the skin tights, and it's a boy. So you can't accuse such kind of a person. You must look at the issue with a lot of keenness. And
they're protected by the Kenyan Constitution, aren't they?
Yes.
Which is why I'm asking, are we overreacting all of a sudden? But the Supreme Court just made a ruling on something that exists within our Constitution, Amalo. And we do recognize, we're not saying that here's the thing, the position as a country, and that's what the president was saying, and that's why I started by asking you gentlemen, are we contradicting ourselves? We're saying, if you do something by the law, fine, we don't care what you do, you go right ahead and do whatever it is you want to do. But then he turns around and says, iyo maneno LGBTQ, hatutaki hapa bwana, hapo no. Is that not a contradiction by itself? Are we saying, let's go back and change the constitution then? Is that what you're saying? Because we can't make a pronouncement on the sidelines of a Supreme Court ruling. Is that what it is?
Actually, no, I can say it's like all our leaders are speaking from both sides of their mouth. So that for them to confuse the 190, because if you read the Constitution, they have a right.
They have a right of association.
Yes.
Yes.
If you come back on this other side,
We're saying, no, you don't have that. We can't allow that.
but on some extent, we
Yes.
can't allow them because I don't think on a scenario where Kevin now can be my wife. No, that one can't work.
And our African values we like
Yes.
to think, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, Kevin, we only have 3 minutes left of this conversation. And gentlemen, I'd like to call you back again to look into more other issues. You started by saying, well, if you look at this government, you'd give them a 6 out of 10. Kevin, in just 1 minute, so we give also Amolo another area to tackle then as we clear. In just 1 minute, you say that you've really given them 6, that's slightly above average. That's what we call a 6 out of 10. What are the things you would specifically want your government, that's the Kenya Kwanza government, to focus on so that you as a youth, you'll come back and say, well, guys, this is good. I give them above average now.
I want a government to focus on the issue about comrades. You
Yes.
know, we speak about comrades because we are their leaders.
Yes.
Comrades are suffering. That is why they are joining these associations of LGBTQ and everything.
Was
Comrades are suffering in the universities.
Yes.
The help that they are being given has wiped their purchasing power because of inflation. So what we need to do as a country, look at, and the president promised to double and make it interest-free.
Yes.
So I want to urge the government to come up with a policy because we can't double just by word of mouth. It needs some policies and the laws so that they can help comrades, double the help allocation and everything else. The second thing,
Yes.
I want to urge the president, in these appointments for CS positions, let's not see the usual recycling. Let's see the fresh blood. Let's see the youth. Let's rally our counties. You know, we actually are having a People's Dialogue Festival. It brings together the civil society, the church, political parties, and the non-governmental organization, the high commissions and embassies in the country.
In
we have that event from 8
Yes.
to 11th of March at the National Museum's Parklands. So we want to be able to come as the youth of Kenya, as the government. But to me, we want more resources as the youth.
Does it?
We want more resources as the youth so that we can explore. The last thing I want to say.
Yes, in 10 seconds, Kevin.
Yeah,
Yes.
in 10 seconds.
Yes.
The last thing I want to say, I want to tell the president, focus on Project Ganya.
Does it?
Let's leave this innuendos and side shows. And as I conclude, I want to urge the parliament to fast-track amendments to the Universities Act of 2017.
Does it?
Yes.
All right. Alfred, in just under a minute, what would you like for this government to focus on so that you can actually move away from E to something maybe that you can talk about? Yes.
Because, for them to get above 50,
Yes.
first of all, they should look at the economy.
Does it?
Yes, because it is very shameful at the 21st century. If we can watch our news and you know what you see there is that there's someone who is dying, maybe in Turkana, because of anger. And this has been a talk since we get independence. What is not happening? Let them do something about the economy. Secondly, actually, I would like to urge our president. I know he's a man of God, he's a good person, but now there's a lot of pressure from all corners. Let him focus on Agenda Kenya so that he deliver to us. Thirdly, you know, as youth, we expect a lot from the president because at the end of the day, we need school fees. The president should work hard so that the school fees should not be increased for students, because the moment they will increase school fees, most of the students will drop out of school, and that's where now the crime rate will increase in the country, and we don't want to go to that direction. So I will urge him to do something about the youth, even the appointments. We are ready for those jobs.
Thank you very much. Now, youth and politics. Today we were joined by Kevin and Alfred, who are youth leaders in their respective positions, really weighed in on exactly what is happening in the country. And that's exactly what it is that we've focused then right here on the Morning Drift on this Friday. Remember, you can take them online back to the time that they came in, weighing in on the calls then that they were giving the government, all the way up to these new issues that we're talking about this morning, including LGBTQ conversations. I'd like to have them back. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. Guess what? We take a tiny break right here on the Morning Drift. Once we come back, it is E-Friday, so we get into our music interlude right here on the Morning Drift.